Is Tahir Naim and we are studying e-commerce. So far we had covered 20 lecture and today is lecture number 20 to 21. The title of our today lecture is security issues over the internet. In this lecture we will examine different types of tech and different issues related to the security over the internet. This is the content of our today lecture. First of all, we look at security issues over the internet. Then we will look into backdoors and Trojan horses attacks. Then we will look into viruses and worms. Then we will look into virus protection. Then we will look into ActiveX contents and ActiveX control. Then we will look at outside attacks on a network. Then we will look into firewalls. Then we will look at proxy servers. Then we will look into security, the biggest challenge. Then we will discuss cryptography. Then we will discuss digital electronic signatures, and then at last but not the least, digital certificates. What is security issues over the internet? Security is the biggest factor slowing down the growth of e-commerce worldwide. For example, when you enter your credit card number in a text box, it is potentially exposed to millions of people on the internet and can be misused. It is important to know following terms in connection with the security threats over the internet. Backdoor and Trojan horses. So backdoors are those hostile programs which run on the machine, install hidden services in order to give a taker remote access capabilities to a compromised machine. So basically, backdoors are installed on your machine without knowing you, without telling you, and provide hidden services to the different people over the internet. Trojan horses are those programs that appear harmless but actually have some malicious purposes. For example, Happy99.exe is a Trojan horse that displays a fireworks and then send copies of it to the email address found on the system. So basically, Trojan horses appears harmless. You don't know that they can be harmful, but actually they are very harmful. The term Trojan horses has been borrowed from history. In history, it has been used to refer a huge wooden horse where the whole Greek army was hidden during a war and the enemy was deceived because it could not figure out that. Viruses and worms. Viruses and worms are malicious programs that can travel between computer is an attachment or on an email or independently or on a network. These terms are sometimes used interchangeably, however, essentially they are different things. Worms spread from one computer to another, but unlike viruses, has the capability to travel without any help or human action. A worm can replicate itself, which means that it can send copies of itself to everyone listed on the email address box on a system. Viruses, on the other hand, need to be activated through a human action. Another difference is that viruses modify existing program on a computer, unlike worm which can install backdoor or drop viruses on the system they visit. A few years ago, a worm called Lowbug was triggered by a 23-year-old student in the Philippines. Its code was written in VB script and it traveled on the internet as an email attachment. It could send copies to itself up to 300 addresses found on the email address box. It could destroy files on the system as well as search for any password and forward a list of the same to the attacker. Within days, it spreads to 40 million computers in more than 20 countries, causing a financial cost of about $9 billion. Virus protection. So, what we can do to protect ourselves from these viruses? First of all, we can install an antivirus system such as McAfee, Norton, Dr. Sulman, Symantec, etc. Downloading of plugins from the internet to be avoided. Plugins are those programs that work in the browser to enhance its capabilities. Downloading of plugins should be done from vendor official website. Newly obtained disks, programs or files should be scanned for virus before use. Installation of firewall may also reduce the risk of virus attack. Hackers. Hackers or crackers are those individuals who write programs or manipulate technologies to gain unauthorized access to computer and networks. Active contents are active access control. Active content is a term generally used to refer a program that are embedded into web pages to cause certain actions. Malicious active contents delivered through web pages can reveal credit card numbers, username, password, etc. and any other information stored in the cookie file on the system. Applets, JavaScript and ActiveX control can be used to install hidden services to the hacker. You know that applet is a compiled program, Java program that runs on a client machine when a particular web page's request is made. Some malicious contents can be sent by a hacker embedded in the applet. Through JavaScript attack, a hacker can destroy the hard disk, disclose emails in the mailbox, or get any sensitive information. JavaScript programs can read list of URL visited and sees information in the web form. For example, if user enter a credit card number in the form of JavaScript code, can send a copy to the hacker. Moreover, malicious contents can be delivered through cookies with JavaScript that can reveal contents of the files. ActiveX controls are those objects that can contain program placed on a web pages to perform a particular task. They can originate from many languages like C, Visual Basics, etc. When downloaded, they can run on the client machine like any other program. Style ActiveX control can reformat a user hard disk, send email to all people listed in the mailbox, or even shut down computers. Outside attacks on a network, eavesdropping, sniffing or snooping. In this type of attack, the hacker has the ability to monitor network traffic using some kind of network monitoring software. For example, a hacker may install some backdoor or Trojan horse that can monitor the keystroke of a user while typing and send the typed information to hacker. Password attacks. Such attacks are basically results of eavesdropping through which the hacker is able to know the account ID or password of particular user. Then using it, the hacker gain access to the network and gather information such as username, password, computer names and resources, etc. that can lead to modification, deletion or rerouting of network data. IP address or spoofing. You know that there are two IP addresses available on data packaging: IP address of the sender and IP address of the destination. The address of destination only matters for forward routing. It is possible that hacker having specialized capability sees the control of the router, changes the IP address of the sender on the data packet, and thus force the destination machine to send information web pages to a different machine, that is machine of the hacker. This is called IP address spoofing. Man in the middle attacks. In this attack, attacker is able to monitor, capture, control data between sending and receiving machine. He may apply the IP address spoofing techniques to divert the packets to its machine, then modify the packets and resend the misleading information to the actual client. Another form of man in the middle attack is where the hacker is able to substitute the IP address of the genuine website with IP address of his own website due to some security holes in the software that runs on the domain name server. A client would think that he is communicating or receiving the information from the genuine website, though it would not be the case actually. Denial of service attacks. In these types of attack, the attacker gains access to the network and then sends invalid data to the network services or application. These services or applications consequently become unable to perform their normal task or function. Hence, sending a flood of data to a particular service or computer can cause it to overload or shut down. Denial of service attacks. In these types of attack, the attacker gains access to the network and then send invalid data to network services or applications. These servicing or applications consequently become unable to perform their normal task or function. Hence, sending a flood of data to a particular service or a computer can cause it to overload or shut down. Firewalls. Basically, a firewall is the combination of hardware and software that sits between the internal network of organization to protect the network from the outside attack, just like is shown in the figure. It can examine the data entering or leaving for the network and filter the data according to certain rules, thus protect the network from the attack. There are three main types of firewalls. So here is the firewall. Basically, it sits between the organization. It sits between outside the organization towards the internet. So you can look here that any traffic coming to the network will have first go through the firewall. So it is for the protection of the network, so that the unauthorized person cannot gain access to the network. This is for a form of protection. Packets firewalls. It uses set of rules to determine whether outgoing or incoming data packets are allowed to pass through firewall. So this packets firewall checks every packet coming to the network or going outside the network and check if it is allowed to go outside or not. For example, VPN is a rule to specify IP addresses of sending device, such as packet from those IP addresses are not allowed to enter the network. The firewall would stop them from enter. A packet firewall is the simplest type of firewall which operates a data link in network layer of OSI model. Circuit level firewall. It also works on the basis of set of rules for filtering packets but operate at the transport layer of OSI model, so have a greater functionality. As a rule, the higher the level a layer of OSI model where firewall operates, the more sophisticated is the firewall. It can make packets sent from internal network to destination outside firewall appear as if they originated at firewall. Thus, information regarding host on the internal network remains secret. It can also undermine with the TCP/IP connection between a host and a machine outside firewall has been properly established. Thus, it can cut off any combination which has been hijacked by the hacker trying to pass through the firewall. Application gateway firewall. It operates at application layer of the OSI model. So as we have discussed in the previous slide, that higher the layer, higher the sophistication of the firewall. So it operates at the highest layer. So it uses strong user authentication to verify identity of a host attempting to connect to a network using application layer protocols such as FTP. In contrast to packet level firewall, it filters the request rather than packet entering leaving the network. It can block outgoing HTTP or FTP requests and can prevent employee inside a firewall from downloading potentially dangerous program from the outside. So basically, it is the most sophisticated form of firewall. It's look at it scrutinize the request rather than the packets. So it can block any request of FTP or HTTP. So it can also block any other user from blocking the installing a program from outside the network. Proxy servers. A proxy server sits between the internal trusted network and the untrusted network, that is internet. So here is the proxy server. So here, look here, this is the network and different clients are attached to it, and there is a server attached to it, and here is the proxy server attached to it. So basically it acts as a server. So this is the proxy server which normally sits on the internet. Security, the biggest challenge. There is consensus that the issue of computer and data security is the biggest hurdle in the growth of e-commerce. Web server also faces this security threat. Programs that run on the server have potential to damage database, abnormally terminate server software, or make changes in the information placed there. A number of international organizations have been formed to share information and combat security threats to computer and computer network. The name of two such organizations are worth mentioning. Computer Emergency Response Team, yeah, or CERT. So this is a group to tackle the security challenge over the internet. Another is a System Administrator Audit Network and Security Institute, or SANS Institute, which tackles the problem of the security. The best response that experts have come up with to tackle the security issue is the cryptography. So what is cryptography? Cryptography is the technique of converting a message into unintelligible or ununderstandable forms, such as that even if some unauthorized and unwanted person intercept the message, he/she will not be able to make any sense out of it. So basically, cryptography is all about security, because if some unauthorized or malicious user has access to the message, he will not be able to understand this message. Cryptography is a 1,000 years old technique. Techniques used for cryptography: substitution. In substitution, we replace each letter in the message with another to make the message ununderstandable. For example, each letter in the message can be replaced with the letter D and D with the letter E, and so on. Transposition. It is based on scrambling character in message. A transposition system may first write a message into a table row by row, then message can be written column by column to make it scramble. Cryptography is collection of mathematical techniques used to ensure confidentiality of the information. The process of scrambling a message with the help of key is called encryption. The process of scrambling a message using inappropriate key is called decryption. Keys are numbers or characters that are randomly generated with the help of some cryptographic algorithm. There are two cryptographic systems: symmetric cryptography and asymmetric cryptography. So here is the plain text, and you want to send this plain text. So here, when you want to send it, you will insert the key, and encryption algorithm will alter this message, and this message will be sent as a ciphertext. So whenever a user want to decrypt, he will apply cipher key to the ciphertext and obtain the original plain text. So this is the main mechanism of cryptography. Digital electronic signature. Electronic signature means any letter, number, symbol, images, character, or any combination thereof in electronic form applied to electronic document, which can ensure authenticity, integrity, and non-repudiation. So basically, digital or electronic signature is literally like the signature in the real world, in which we put signature on the document to make it legal. So same way electronic signature is used. It uses public key cryptography. Authentication means that message is from particular source individual. Integrity means that message has been not altered during transmission. So here is the message, and private, there is a sender has two key: sender private key and sender public key. So the sender private key is only available or known to the senders. So he will put this message, put his private key on this message. So here is the message, and this is his private digital signature. So when a user receive this message, he will apply the sender public key, which is known to everybody, and he will know that this message have authenticity, integrity, and non-repudiation, and contains the sender electronic signature. Digital certificates. These are certificates in electronic form which establishes whether or not a public key belongs to a proposed owner. A digital certificate at least comprises a public key, certification information, name, ID, etc. and electronic signature of certification authority. Digital certificates are prepared according to generally accepted format called X.509 standard format. So basically a digital certificate is a type of certificates in which it is shown that these are from authentic source and does not belongs to any malicious sources. Thank you. This is the references from where I have prepared my lecture. If you have any issues regarding today's lecture, please feel free to email me. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.